Everybody, it's Andrew Brown, and welcome to the AWS Cloud Project Bootcamp as we continue on with week 4, technically week 5, for SQL, where we need to implement a custom authorizer for Cognito. So the reason we need to do this is that when we are setting up our data, I'll go to our seed data here. What you'll notice, it's in our DB file here. What you'll notice is that we need to have a user for our activities, but we also have to have this Cognito user ID. If we don't have this, then there's no way for us to exactly verify our user. And so during the sign up process, the idea is that we need to insert this into the database. Probably the best way to do it is through a Cognito hook. They probably have a hook that you can do after sign up or something like that. And so that will be powered by a Lambda. So I didn't think we were going to be working with Lambdas this soon, but that's okay. Because Beko helped us write the code. So we can use this code, and what we'll see is that probably the code will be very similar to using the Postgres driver that we're using in the Python code, because it'll probably be a Python function to make our lives really easy. So what I'll do is go to my week 4. I still have this one open because I just picked it up from the last video that we just stopped. But in here, I think Beko wrote in the journal for me how to do it. So we'll scroll down and look at what he gave us. So we need to create a Lambda. There is stuff that we need to set in the environment variables and stuff like that. And I believe that he was saying that he was using like a layer that was already provided by somebody. Here he's using SciCob 2. Now 3 is what we're using our app, but maybe we'll use 2 because that's what's going to work easily here. So this is a custom compiled SciCob 2 library for Python due to AWS Lambda missing the required Postgres library. The API will need to compile it. So Lambda layers allows us to bundle in additional stuff into Lambda. And so I guess we'll be using the older one because I don't know if anyone's done number 3 and I'm not going to look for it. So what we need to do is make our way over to AWS. Ugh, wrong site. And we will sign into the console. And we'll make our way over to Lambda. Okay. And we'll go ahead and create ourselves a new Lambda. So you can see Beko already made one here. I'm going to leave the old one here because I might just want to use it for something. So just in case mine doesn't work, I might want to swap it out. And so we need to create that Lambda. That Lambda is, he calls it CRUD post confirmation. Oh, I'm going to call it the same thing. So CRUD post confirmation 2. Now I haven't made a Lambda in a while, a little bit of time, so I think I'll be fine here. 3.9 is out. I think he was using 3.8. And again, we might have to use that version because of what the Lambda layer expects. So that's something that might break down the road. But for now, we'll stick with 3.8. And we'll go ahead and set that. So x86 architecture is fine. ARM is a lot more efficient, but let's stick with x86 for that. You can provide a container image. We're just going to use an inline Lambda or a like a runtime Lambda. We just update our code. Create a new role for basic Lambda permissions. Sounds good to me. Advanced settings. Enable code signing. Don't care. Enable function URL. Don't care. Enable tags. Don't care. Enable VPC access. I don't care. Okay. I don't think we need any of those things. So we'll go ahead and create that function. And we'll give it a moment here to create. While that's going, let's go take a look at what else we have here. So we'll have to set these as the environment variables. This is the function code. Looks a lot like ours. So you'll notice that we do Python cog. It's SciCob PG2. That's probably how you say it. It looks very similar, but here instead of passing the connection URL, Beko broke it up into 4 separate things. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to modify his code because I know that we can pass the connection URL string in there, and that's just a lot nicer and easier to look at. And you can see that we're executing this function here. So what I'm going to do is just copy this over here, and we should probably put this in our code somewhere. So in here, I'll just make a new function. I'll make a folder called Lambdas. And this one will be called, what did he call it? Well, what did we call it? CRUD post confirmation. So I'll go here and say new file, Crutter, post confirmation. Now mine's 2, but I'm just leaving that old one there because I don't feel like deleting it, just in case it works properly. Yours should just be called, should not have a 2 in it. And I'll go up here, and the code looks all right. Lambda functions, they take events and context in. They spit some stuff back here. We're not here to teach you lambdas. That's part of a course. And so instead of this, I'm going to go and do a connection URL, because I think that's going to be cleaner. Unless the old one doesn't accept it, we'll find that out, I guess, as we go. But I think that's a lot less work if we do that. So we'll do that. I think we could do a little bit extra work here with our formatting here. I don't think Bako knows how to use here docs, so that's probably why he did it in a single line. Probably didn't look it up, so I'm just going to do this. Also, I don't really want it. Yeah, I think we'll take this out here. We'll copy that. And we'll use our SQL like that. And we'll do triples. And we'll just make this a bit easier to work with here. Put values on the next line here. Yeah, I can see that's how he's inserting them. So what I would do is, instead of doing it this way, I'm just going to take these out like this. I'll put an F on the end, as we learned before. And this will be name. This will be email. And this will be sub. So I'll take that up, put that there. Okay, so that should work a lot better. The user is here. I guess we could just, for simplicity's sake, no, I'm going to just set them here separately. Name, email, sub. I don't even want to find out if they'll just work in line. I'll just do it this way. Again, I've not ever touched or looked at this code, so I'm going to assume that I can just get it working no problem, as a cloud engineer should be able to do. We'll just extract that at the top here, make this a little bit nicer. I'll just do this. Username, user email, just so it's a little bit more handle. Why would the handle be the email? Because we have display name, handle, stuff like this. So we have name. Handle wouldn't be email. Okay, it's a good thing we looked at this code. So I'm just going to go up here and do user display name. User email is fine. User Cognito ID. And probably the way I like to do this is I like to put them on new lines like this. It's just easier to read, and then it's easier to modify. So we'll do that. User Cognito ID. We actually have a field for email. Now, I don't know if we actually create that in our table. We might not need that data. So I'm going to go back over here, and we'll take a look at our schema. In our schema, we have display name, handle, Cognito user ID created at. We could have the email in here. There's no reason why we couldn't. So I think I'll just put it in here. Our handle is our username, so I'll just put that there. And so I wonder what data that grabs. That's a good question. I wonder what Cognito is going to pass along. So what I would probably do is just print out the contents of this, because I'm not really sure what user attributes are coming back. But anyway, I'm thinking that this is kind of what I want to do. I like to line my code so it's a bit nicer to look at. So we'll do that. I just don't know what the response is from Cognito to this Lambda, which we'll find out as we go here. Display name, handle, we'll put email here. Display name, email, Cognito. I don't want to put handle, I suppose. And this would be preferred username, because I remember that's what we called it. Handle, I don't know if I spelled that right. I'm dyslexic, so I can't spell anything to save my life, but it looks like I did spell it, so I did save my life. Until we run this, then we'll know for sure. Okay, but we'll print that out so we at least can see what's going on here. We'll just say user attributes. We'll be able to check that in CloudWatch logs. Okay, so display name, email handle, Cognito user ID, all looks good. And then instead of having it here like this, yuck. Sorry, Bako. We both just like override our code. So I'll write it one way, he'll rewrite my code, and it'll just be like back and forth, and we'll never get anything done. It's funny. So that's there. The commit will commit that because we're not fetching data, we're just committing it. Here we'll raise an error if there's an issue. We'll close out that. We notice that we're not using a connection pool. Now, if we were doing this for production's sake, we should be setting up a Lambda proxy. There's an additional cost to that, so I don't want to run it. But the idea is that if you had hundreds of users, thousands of users signing up at the same time, all those Lambdas would spin up, it would flood the connections, we'd run a connection. So you would really need RDS proxy in between this. But again, that's an additional cost, and it's very difficult to set up, so we're not doing that right now. This will work for our simple use case. Name, email, preferred username, sub. Okay, so that looks improved to me. We'll go back over here, and so we can just put our code right in here to save ourselves some trouble. I'm gonna just hope that this is correct. So I'll go that, and I'll go back here, and I will paste this in here as such. That is fine, don't show me, I do not want to read it. Paste that in. I guess I should have read it. I had to do Command or Control V, did not take it. I like how they change the colors. Every time in Lambda, they just change this thing. They just won't stop changing it. Now this is blue for some reason. Totally fine. We'll go ahead and, I just want to save this. How did they change this? Oh my goodness. It must stop changing the UI. There's no need to, it's not even improved, it's just changed. Okay, so changes are not deployed. So I guess you have to hit the deploy button now. Could we just call it save? Why do we have to call it deploy? And so that code is now deployed, I guess. We need to set the environment variable. Where did they put that? Where is it now? Where's my envars? Test, monitor, configuration, probably configuration, envars. You really have to get used to all these darn changes. We'll go here, we'll add a new one, we'll call it connection URL. And we'll go back over to our application over here, and it is our prod one. So I'm just gonna go env grep prod, and we'll go ahead and grab this. Now, one thing I wonder is, how is it gonna know to allow permissions from the Lambda? That'll be interesting. So I'll paste that in, and so now I have that. We'll save it. We need the Lambda layer added, so I'm gonna go back to code here, and we'll go down below here. I'm gonna add a layer. We'll go see where Bako got this one here. So I'll open this up into a new tab. Ugh. I just want to put a link to it. Just go to Lambda layers in the function code and add a reference to your region. So it looks like, is that ours or somebody else's? We'll go over here. 35875. So this one here is, I can tell this is someone else's because it's a different account ID. It's in CA Central. The question is this hosted by AWS? I don't know whose account this is coming from. So I don't know if that's a security risk, but be nice to know where that's coming from. I'm going to use it because I want it done today. But my point is like, you should know where they're coming from, right? Unless it's AWS provided. I mean, that would be sweet. You'd think they'd have one for Postgres in here, but nope. So we'll provide the ARN here. And we'll verify it. It's compatible for 3.8. We'll hit add. And so now we have that Lambda layer, so it will run Postgres. Now we could have pushed a container, but I just don't want to do a container today, as we will be doing Lambdas a lot more in detail later on in our serverless Lambda week, where we will probably use SAM or something, or maybe even CDK, I don't know, to push that stuff up. It's going to just be dependent on Christie. Okay, so this looks good. Now, I don't know if I've introduced any errors modifying this code. I don't know what the output will be, but we need to add our trigger. We're going to go over to Cognito here. And in here, there's somewhere to trigger this stuff. I'm going to assume it's in the sign-up experience. Cognito assisted verification, no. Custom attributes, no. App integration, probably. Feels like it would be here. Sometimes you just have to like feel it out, because they keep changing these UIs on me. We'll click into here. It's not in here. So somewhere I can add those post hooks. It's not a domain. User pool properties. Lambda triggers. And we have the old one here too. So I'm going to delete the old one because I don't have a use for it right now. Enter post confirmation. Okay. We'll add a trigger. We want it to happen on sign up. So before sign up, post confirmation, migrate user. I want it on post confirmation. Here we'll choose our Lambda. I'm choosing number 2. Yours is not going to be called number 2. You are granting Cognito permission to invoke this Lambda. Sure am. We'll update that. So now I have this in place. If I go back here and refresh, does it show the trigger? No, it does not. I guess the question is it supposed to? I'm going to go look at Baco's old ones and we'll see if it shows up the trigger. It doesn't. So I think that this is going correctly. I'm going to just double check to see if he has any other additional permissions that he had set. Maybe configuration, permissions. We have buy resource, create log stream, buy action. Just being able to put things into the log. Nothing special here. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to go back to confirmation 2. I'm going to take a look at my permissions, configuration, permissions. And it looks like we have the same stuff, so we are in good shape. It looks one-to-one to me. And down below here, you can see the database proxy. So if we wanted to add one, we'd have to do a bunch of stuff here. And we'd probably have to use Secrets Manager. That would be an additional cost. So that is why we are not using RDS proxy right now. Okay, so we have our Lambda. The question is, will this trigger when we sign up? So the way we're going to know is if we go to our logs would show, I mean, we could test this Lambda and just pass in attributes, but I really don't know what it's going to pass along, so I don't really want to do that. We'll go to monitor here and we go to logs. This is where we could see it. We'll go to view cloud watch logs over here. We could also check through X-ray, which is kind of cool. It would not be really connected with our application in the same way because this isn't, it wouldn't follow the span or trace that way. Nothing here because it's never ran. So let's trigger it. We'll go over to Cognito. I'll go to users. I'm going to go ahead and delete myself as a user here. I'll say disable access, delete. And I'm going to go sign up again for my application. So I'm going to go sign in. I'll go down to sign up. We'll say Andrew Brown, andrewexampro.co, Andrew Brown, capital T, testing 123, exclamation mark, sign up. And so we get a confirmation email. I'll go and get that off screen here. So let me just go here to my email. We'll type that in. And we will say andrew@exampro.co, and we'll put that confirmation code in here. Post confirmation, verified variable con reference before assignment. Oh, okay. So this is an error about our Lambda. That's cool. I didn't think we'd get it here. I thought we'd have to go check the logs. So we'll go over here and we'll go back to CloudWatch logs and we will, whoops, refresh. And we'll see if we get any logs in here. Now that's just a syntax error. I don't know if that would return anything else here. And we do. We have it that it triggered something. And we'll go here, and I like to put the display in plain text. It's a bit easier to read. I like how there's masking. Before that didn't exist, so I guess it can protect data. That's really cool. I like that feature. That's something I didn't see before. So unbound error, local variable con reference before assignment. Not sure what it's talking about. Let's go take a look at our code over here. Con. Connection URLs here. Referenced before an assignment. Yeah. Well, at least we can see the payload. So we have the email, preferred username. So I guessed right for that one. Name, email, we can pass all that stuff along. And the sub is basically the Cognito user ID. I don't know what sub stands for. Maybe it's part of the JWT protocol. I don't know. Or standard. Local variable con reference before assignment. Line 37. I mean, the indentation doesn't look right to me. But I don't think that's the reason why this is not working. Let's go take a closer look here. So I'm not really sure what the issue is. I mean, all this indentation doesn't look all that great to me. We really shouldn't print out the connection string URL, but just to rule it out, no, I don't think that's the issue. I think that's working fine. Though I don't see us importing the OS. I don't know if we actually have to do that. It might already be there, like that. So I'll just put that there just in case it's supposed to be there. I definitely want to console out this. So we'll say print, or console out, log out this. We'll say SQL. I'll just say print SQL here. Okay, we'll go ahead and grab this code here. We'll go back over to here and we'll go to code. And I'll go ahead and deploy these changes. We'll go ahead and try this again. Confirm. Invalid code provided. Please request a new code. So we coded this before. I hope this works. A new activation code has been sent to you. Cool. I said before to make sure that to go back and validate that works. If it doesn't, you have some debugging to do. User cannot be confirmed. Current status is confirmed. So it did confirm it. So the thing is that we have to go back. And I really should hyperlink this. But what we need to do is go back here. And we'll have to go clear out the user because they are confirmed, but the post step just failed. So we'll have to fill around with this a bit. Just close this out here, refresh. And I will go here and I will delete this user. Make sure I'm deleting me, not Bako. Not that it would matter. I'm sure he can make a new account in 2 seconds. But we'll go back over here and I will say join now. Andrew Brown, Andrew at exampro.co. Andrew Brown, capital T, testing 1, 2, 3, exclamation mark, sign up. Great. Enter a confirmation code. And I will go back here. And we'll enter that in. We have a different error. Post confirmation failed with error. Task timed out after 3.01 seconds. Now that makes me think that it's trying to connect to the Postgres database and it's running into a problem because I didn't open anything up for it, so I don't know how it would know that it would have access to that RDS instance. So that's what we're going to find out next. So what we'll do is go back over to CloudWatch logs and I'll just go back up here and we'll have the newest one here. So this is a newer date. So we'll go here and this is printing out. Task timed out after 3.01 seconds. Now it didn't print out my SQL, so where is it? What the heck? Where's my SQL? I told it to print it right here before it executes that statement, right? Now, it might not be working because it's in a try. Sometimes those tries don't work. So for instance, I'll just do debug here saying like entered try, just to rule it out. Also, it could be that it's establishing a connection up here. So what I might do here is actually just move this down. And then that way we can see what's going on. So I think that's probably what the problem is. I'll leave this here just so that we can see what's going on. And maybe that will make it a lot more clear. Now I noticed that Baco is not using the same syntax as I'm using. So I was doing it so like it automatically closes and it closes down here. And I guess that's fine. This is just an alternate way to do it. He uses the try, whereas I'm not using that syntax. But this also is a good way of capturing errors. So I guess in this sense, it actually is good. So I shouldn't squawk about that. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and copy this, and we will go back to Lambda, update our code, and deploy. Obviously, you don't really want to be doing this constantly. You should have a pipeline, but we don't want to have to build out a complex pipeline for this. Maybe down the road when we get to CloudFormation, we will figure that out. Okay. Let me think. Let me think. So that's been updated. I'm going to have to go back over to here. We'll refresh. We will go ahead and delete the user. We will say delete. We will delete. We will go back over to our application. We will click back. We will type this in again. This is where it'd be useful to write CLI commands, or sorry, like bash commands, so that we don't have to constantly do it this way, but that is totally fine. We'll hit sign up. And I will go over to my email. Here. And I'll paste this in here. And we'll go confirm this email. Task timed out. That's totally fine. I want to see what we get in our logging. We'll go up here. Now we have a third one. It's probably the newest one here. Okay, so it is inserting this correctly. I think we need to wrap these in quotations because I feel like that would break. And maybe Baco took care of that in his code. So let's go back there and take a look. I might have deleted it out. That's not why our thing's not working. No, but then there's these commas here. So I think what I will do is put these like this. I think it's doubles, right? So doubles or singles? Doubles or singles for PSQL. I always forget. String literals. I think we want string literals, right? Yeah, we want single quotations. If we don't, we'll just switch it to doubles. It's not a big deal. I just can't remember. Actually, the way we would know is we can just check our seed data, what we did in there. So if we go over to our seed data, we used singles. Okay. So this is clearly printing out correctly, so that's totally fine. You know, we probably would want to maybe obscure some of this data if we don't want to show sensitive data. And also, like, if you're doing GDPR, then it's like, then you have to scrub these as well. So you might not want to show all this data here. But for debugging purposes, I'm going to leave it in. And so clearly it's hanging here. So we have a connection issue. So I'm going to just type in like RDS to Lambda security group. Would we have to put it in the VPC? In the same VPC, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. All I'm going to do is go take a look here and see if Baco wrote anything about this here. He did not. But I know that we can put it in a VPC. So if we go over to our Lambda and we go to configurations, I saw there a moment ago, VPC, and we can say The function isn't connected to a VPC. Let's just connect it. There's only one, so we'll do that. I know that we are in 1A, so let's do that because that was the availability zone that we put it in. We'll put it in the default security group, so we'll do that. And I think that's actually already what the database lets it connects to, so we'll hit save. The provided execution role does not have permission to create a network interface EC2. That's fine. We'll go here. It will probably tell us we need to add this stuff here onto our Lambda. So we'll go over here. We'll just back out here for a second to our function. Actually, I wonder what Bako did here. If we go to configuration, I have a feeling, yeah, he set the VPC. He didn't tell us. That's okay. We got to learn a little bit, right? We can't just can't have all the instructions for us. So we see that there are inbound rules and he has attached stuff. I'm thinking he used the default here. You see this one? Yeah, he's using the default. Okay, that's fair. But what about the permissions? So we'll go here and I mean, he didn't add permissions on this. So then why is this a problem? Oh, EC2 right here. What the heck? Creditor confirmation role. I'm just going to see if he added like a custom policy or just added an inline policy. So we'll go over here for a second. And VPC execution rule. So that's what I was wondering, if there's already a predefined policy. So I'm going to go back over to Lambda, if I can find it. And we will edit the execution role. Well, which one are we in right now? Oh, we're in Bako's. So let's get out of that one. So we want VPC access. So we'll go back over to Lambda. Like, we can make the permission ourselves, but it's like if AWS already has one, it's better to use theirs if we can attach it to it. So what I'm looking for is the rule. So I'll go to configuration here. I really don't like how they've changed this layout, but we'll click into this one. And in here, we will see that it only has a basic role here. And we'll go ahead and add another permission, attach a policy. And that was like, what was it? AWS. It was like VPC something. We'll hit enter. We've redesigned the UI. This like still looks super old. So we want to give this one. I think Bako made this manually because this says customer managed. So what he would have done here is he did something very similar. So when we went over here, this one isn't exactly the same. This one has describe, create, delete, describe, attach. We don't need to have all those. So what we want to do here, I mean, it looks like it was actually generated out by AWS because probably when we created it, we had that option to say like, hey, create a VPC one. But I'll just manually create it. So you can see that it just says create network interface, delete, and describe. That's all we needed. So what I'll do is go back to ours here. And I'll just create a new policy, I guess. We'll go to IAM here. Whoops. Policies. We'll just say, we'll create a policy here. And we can go here and say the service is for EC2, I guess. And we can say network here. Honestly, I'd rather just do the JSON. It takes 2 seconds. What do we need it to be? Statement effect allow. So we'll go here and make a new statement. So say effect allow. I think it's actions, right? And then we'll just paste these in here like this. Or it's just action. And then we'll go here and the resource. I mean, really, you should lock it down to the exact one we want to do, but we'll just do that. And there's no errors. Everything's fine here. We'll go next. What was the general name of this? It was Lambda VPC execution role. I'm just going to grab that like that. Next, and we'll do that there like that. So AWS Lambda can create a network. What are they called? Not knackles. Networking thing. Frick, it should be easy for me. Network card. Virtual network card. Why am I blanking today? Create network card. Network card. We'll just call it that. I don't care. I'm getting tired here. So we'll create that. And like the thing is, if it created initially, I can understand. No, it has the create action, so we're fine there. So we'll do that, and we will go back over to our Lambda here, which is ours. We'll click into it. Yeah, and then we will give this I'll attach this policy, and we called this here. Okay, so we'll attach that, add the permissions. We'll go back over to here. I will zoom out, and we will now see if these permissions are here. We'll just refresh it, and we should see that information there. Again, I really don't like this view. AWS is just trying to make things easy, but they end up making things harder. So we have all these things attached here. We are in number 2 to make sure we're not confused. Yours is not called 2, mine's just called 2. We'll go ahead and add the VPC, so I will choose this. This is actually a lot easier than before, so I do like this as an improvement. We are in 1A. We recommend that you choose at least 2. Sure, we'll do that. In fact, we'll choose 3. Why not? It just actually maybe not, because it might attach a network card for each of those. I only want 2. We'll attach the default one. We'll hit save. We'll cross our fingers. It created it. Great. So now it should be in the security group. That security group is already added to the database security group, so it should just work. Yeah, so what we'll do is go back over to Cognito, and we will refresh. We will go ahead. We'll delete this user. We'll say delete user. We will delete. And the next thing we will do is something. We will do something. We'll go over here, and we will go back to here, and I will sign up again. Andrew Brown Andrew at exampro.co. Andrew Brown, capital T, testing 1, 2, 3, exclamation, sign up. Okay, I'll go to my email off screen here. I have an email, I have a code. I will put it in here. And let's see that we get something else. If we get an error, that's okay. Just tell me it's not like a timeout error. Oh, it worked. Cool. Now remember, it doesn't sign us in right away. It's kind of a UI defect, which we have to solve at some point. But let's see if our thing worked for sure. So in here, we'll do bin, db connect to our database. Oh, sorry, prod, because we're not running one locally right now. We'll do DT to list out the tables. We'll say select all from users. Oh no, it didn't make a user. It didn't insert it. Bummer. Bummer. Okay, but we didn't get an error, so at least we're getting somewhere. I was so sure that that worked. Let's go over to here. We will go back. We will see that we have a new record, and we will go here. So it's printing out the stuff. Oh, we got an error. It just didn't tell us. Database connection closed. Line 2, insert into users. So our error handling isn't that great on this, but if we can just get it to work, it'll be totally fine. So insert into users, line 2. Let's go back to our code here, and let's take a look here. Insert into users. I mean, it looks good to me. Let's go back and take a look here again. I could see why Baco maybe didn't have it multi-line, because this is really hard to read, to be honest. So maybe that's why he did it single line, and so it was my mistake to make it multi-line, but syntax error. I mean, we didn't do public on it. We don't need to do that. So we could do this like public. Why is there a quotation here? Is that a problem? Probably. That's probably what it is, this one right here. Okay. I'm confident that this is going to work this time. I'm so confident. So let's see if we can get this to work. I'm going to go back over to here to here. I'm going to delete the user one more time. I really should just write bash commands to save us some time, but not going to happen. We'll go back over to here to our code. We will grab our code. We will copy this. We will go back over here to our code. And we will deploy this new version. Deployed, all good. Then we will go back over to our app. We will sign up again. Andrew Brown, Andrew X. Exampro.co, Andrew Brown, capital T testing, 1, 2, 3, exclamation mark, sign up. And we'll go over here. Okay, no errors. That's great, but that doesn't mean that it worked. Let's just go straight and check Cognito or CloudWatch and see if there's any errors. I think this is the latest one. Line 13, there's an error. Dang it. Line 13, unterminated quoted identifier at or near. Okay, let's go back here. Line 13 in this code here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This one's not supposed to be here either. That's just old ones. Okay, we'll save that again. We will copy this. I think we got it this time. We will deploy it. We will go over here. We will refresh. We will delete our user. Disable. Delete. Great. We will go back over to here. We will sign up. Andrew Brown, Andrew at exampro.co, Andrew Brown, capital T, testing 1, 2, 3, exclamation mark. We will go to CloudWatch right away. We'll refresh here. Sometimes it doesn't happen right away, so I don't necessarily trust it. So this is saying line 13. I don't think so. Okay, we'll just make sure this one's the right one. We'll go back over to our code here. Let's just make sure this one's been updated. That one's gone. I just don't trust it. Let's go back here, refresh. I don't trust these logs. I'm going to delete them. This way, then when a new log comes in, we'll be sure which one it is. Data protection, that's cool. Okay, I know that I keep doing this, but we'll just do it again and again and again and again until it works. Since it's unconfirmed. Oh, we didn't confirm it. We didn't confirm it. Okay, so it just hasn't ran yet. I just forgot the next step. Okay, this is the problem. When I'm coding here for hours, I start to get wonky and my results start to get poor. So we'll hit confirm. Okay, we'll go to CloudWatch. We will refresh. Please show no errors. And then when we go to the database, please show that there's a record in there. We'll go there. Line 4. You know why? It's our schema doesn't have it because we changed our schema. Okay, so what we'll do is go back over here. We really should have this raise an error, and it's not, and I don't know why. So it's not great error handling, so that's something that we should figure out. But it's only if it's on these errors, I guess. So maybe like Python catch all other errors. But here it says exception. So you'd think that they would catch that. So I'm not sure why that's not showing up. And I don't like that. So I'll talk to Bako about that. Maybe we can we can improve that, okay? So what we want to do here is go fix our schema. That should be pretty darn easy. So we will go over here and we will do bin db schema load prod. And we wrote it so that it should drop those tables and recreate them. So now that should fix that issue because I believe that we added it into our schema, the email. We sure did. And some of these should not be null. So like, for instance, like this should not be null. This should not be null. This should not be null. Those should not be null. I mean, display name should not be null either. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to run this again, improve our schema. Sometimes these are annoying to have these not nulls on there, but I'm putting them on there. They really should all be set. Okay, so what we'll do is we will go back over here. We will refresh. We will go and delete this user again. Let's close these here. We will go back over to Crowder. We will say sign in. Andrew, oh no, sign up, sign up. Oh, did we update our code? No, there's no code to update, right? Our code was fine. Andrew Brown, capital T, testing 1, 2, 3. Exclamation mark, sign up. And we will go get our new confirmation code. Before we do anything, I'm just going to go ahead and just to make things a bit easier, I'm going to just delete this one. We'll grab our new confirmation code. Put my email in here. Confirm email. Okay. Is this going to work? Please tell me this is going to work because I want to go make dinner. No errors. Connection closed. This is looking good. This is looking good. Let's make our way over to our database here. Let's connect to our database. DB. Do we already have it running here maybe? We do. I'm just going to do this. Go to prod. Select all from users. Select all from users. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Do you see what we did there? We are in the database. Okay, so hopefully the other stuff is going to be easier, but we still have more work to do. We're not done, but this is where the video is going to pretty much stop until the next video comes out. So the idea is that we have Cognito working here, but we now need to make it so that we can create. We have to hook up our create action. We have to be able to filter based on a user. So I'm thinking the rest of this should be not too hard to do because I'm really good at SQL, but we have achieved quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead here and commit this, and we will save our code for later. So we will say post confirmation Lambda, commit, sync changes. Now, if you're concerned about spend, you can stop that RDS instance and start it temporarily and start it back up. I don't care about the spend. I got the pennies. I'm going to keep it running. But for you, you might not want to do that. We do get a generous amount of RDS. So like if you're on free tier, you shouldn't be that worried about it. But if you are, just shut it down and then you just save your AWS credits for later. But there we go. We'll see you in the next one. Ciao.